Hey guys, Zach Yelton here, Director of Premium Services at Coastal Shores Landscape. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about structural pruning of crepe myrtle trees. We're standing here next to a crepe myrtle tree. This particular tree is a little older and it's got some these ugly knuckles on it, right? And these knuckles form because of what we call crape murder, okay? People cutting these trees, starting at a young age, just lopping them off at a low height. And now they've got all these ugly knuckles where a lot of sucker growth has happened. So, today we're going to talk about how to properly structurally prune a crepe myrtle tree and why we do that. Starting out, we do this in the winter time when the leaves are off the tree so we can see the general good shape of the tree. And structural pruning is done mainly to thin the tree, to create more air movement and more sunlight penetrating down through the canopy. All right, so the two primary tools you should be using: a good set of hand pruners, bypass hand pruners, and then a tree saw. Okay, so loppers can be an option, but I prefer loppers mainly for demolition, cutting out, removing. You really shouldn't be cutting anything bigger than your thumb. So a set of good hand pruners and a pruning saw is all you'll need. So I'm going to work through this tree today and show you some techniques on how to properly prune a tree. All right, so with a few simple cuts in just a few short minutes, I've taken a handsaw and some snips and taken care of the structural pruning on this tree. Essentially, we look for crossing branches, any branches that are crossing up against one another, rubbing, touching one another. We want to prune those away, thin them out so that more air movement and sunlight can get into the center part of the tree. And it's always a good idea as you're pruning to just take a step back and just assess the overall structure of the tree. Working up close to something is one thing and requires precision, but then stepping back allows you to really scan the overall progress and plan out your next move. So as I assess this, I see one more branch up here that is crossing and rubbing one another. So this is what I don't want, okay? So I want to identify that, but I can't really do that until I step back and see the overall structure. So again, this is another branch that we would want to remove. This one's small enough where I can take my hand pruners and clip it out. And I'm gonna make that cut in a place that will not promote further growth or suckering of the tree, okay? So ideally, you want to be pruning a branch for removal. You want to be taking that away right at the collar. This is what we call the collar. And then with a proper pruning cut, the tree will heal over and no further suckering will take place. If it does sucker out in the spring, you can just pop those off and the tree will work to callus over and heal over, and you shouldn't have any other grow back there. But the result is a much healthier tree, much more open canopy structure. Last thing I'll mention, there is a misconception that leaving the seed pods on the tree will cause the tree not to bloom. It's a myth, okay? The crepe myrtles bloom on the new growth every year. You don't have to remove the seed pod structures from this tree. You certainly can. It's not going to hurt anything, but it is not necessary. So if you do, come down 8 to 12 inches and just snip that off like so, and you can continue that method throughout the whole tree. But again, it's not necessary. This is a younger tree, and again, guys, if this tree had been treated this way from a young age, it would have a much better structure than it does right now. But if you're dealing with a tree that has been mistreated, maybe crepe murder has been done in the past on it, it can be recovered. Okay, just a few simple structural pruning cuts is all it needs to open its canopy back up, reduce that suckering, and create a nice, healthy tree structure. Thanks so much for tuning in today.